Hey everybody, Doug8798 here. This is my review of the Mortal Kombat movies. Been trying to do this for a while now, but I kept putting it off and on. Well, finally, here is my webcam review of both of the Mortal Kombat movies. I saw both of these movies in 1997. I'm gonna start off with the very first movie, the 1995 Mortal Kombat. This movie came out, I think, in January of 1995. I didn't hear about this movie, I think, until, what was it? It was either late 1996 or early 1997. And I finally got to see this movie in 1997. And when my dad bought it home, my dad rented this on VHS. And I have been a huge fan of this movie ever since. I still am to this day. I was a huge fan of the Mortal Kombat games, and to see all that stuff, well, some of the stuff I saw in the Mortal Kombat video games turned into a movie, blew my mind, and it still blows my mind today when I watch it. And this movie actually, even though it was a PG-13, this movie was, in my opinion, kind of dark. It wasn't kid friendly, kind of like the Street Fighter film. This film was a darker adaptation, and some of the scenes scared me as a child, such as Shang Tsung killing Liu Kang's brother by stomping on his back, and of course Goro's makeup effects, Liu Kang's pit fatality on Shang Tsung where he knocked him to the pit with the spikes, and of course Shao Kahn appearing at the end. The special effect appearing at the end actually scared the living hell out of me. But I love this movie. Awesome story. Some of the most intense, badass fighting. One thing I like about this movie is this movie, for the most part, while there was some actors in this movie mostly got martial artists, fighters, and stuntmen to play the part. So that means you got lots of awesome kick-ass, intense fighting, versus the other way, which I like too, getting actors and teaching them how to fight, or having stuntmen stand in for them to have incredibly realistic fight scenes. And boy, the action in this film was worth it. Then of course, in my opinion, they had a pretty good story. The story surrounding the action. Then of course, this film, unlike most adaptations, and this is still true today, this film, for the most part, while they changed a couple of things, this film, for the most part, stayed true to its source material, something completely foreign today and back then. Yeah, the plot of this movie is that every generation there's a tournament called Mortal Kombat. And of course, like they say in the trailers, I love the way they say it better in the trailers. Every generation, a few warriors are chosen to defend Earthrealm in a tournament called Mortal Kombat. Shang Tsung and his warriors have already won 9 Mortal Kombats. If they win 10, they will be able to invade Earthrealm. So it's up to 3 strangers: Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya, guided by the Thunder God Raiden, to defeat Shang Tsung and his forces of evil, or the Emperor will be able to invade Earth. The characters that appear in this film are, of course, the video game characters that appear in this film are Liu Kang, portrayed awesomely by Robin Shaw, one of my all-time favorite actors and martial artists. Robin Shaw. Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage, surprisingly a pretty good fighter and a fantastic actor. Bridget Nielsen, who's an awesome actor. The late great what was his name? Hold on, it's on here somewhere. Man, I already forgot his name, but the guy who plays Kano. Kano. I keep forgetting his name, but he died in 2003 of a drug overdose. But he was awesome. He was awesome as Kano, man. He was an awesome actor. And then of course Hiroyuki Tagawa as Shang Tsung, who the Mortal Kombat version of the 1995 Mortal Kombat version of Shang Tsung is not only one of my favorite incarnations of Shang Tsung, he's one of my all-time favorite movie bad guys. Bad guys. Then of course you had Richard. I keep forgetting his name, but he's well known. The guy who plays Goro. I keep forgetting his name, but the guy who does his voice, of course, is Frank Welker, who does Scooby-Doo and who does Freddy from Scooby-Doo and Iceman from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And you also have Talisa Soto as Kitana, who's an awesome actress, man. I think that's one of the only female actresses I actually liked or had a crush on. And then of course there's who else in this film, man? Oh yeah, then there's the late great Gregor McKinney appearing as Jax. Then of course there's Christopher Lambert. How could I forget the awesome Christopher Lambert as Raiden, and martial artist Art Lian appears as a made-up character in this film. So yeah, all-star power cast, awesome soundtrack, awesome story, awesome fighting, awesome makeup effects, costume design, everything. One of the best, in my opinion, one of the best films in its genre of all time. And widely considered to be one of the best video game films of all time. Next film, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I saw this movie shortly in theaters, shortly after I saw this film, and I was immediately excited that there was a sequel to the Mortal Kombat film. I knew there was going to be a sequel to this, but since I really didn't know the release date of this movie, I didn't expect to see this movie so soon, but when I saw it, man, it just like this when it blew me away. This movie blew me away. It had twice everything. It had twice everything this movie had. This movie had more characters, new edgier costume design, and the story was larger in scope. This time it was no longer a tournament. Shao Kahn and his forces invaded Earthrealm and are now trying to merge Earthrealm with Outworld, which is of course the backstory and plot of Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 3, and now it's no longer a tournament. It's an all-out war between the realm of Earth and the realm of Outworld. And this film, of course, like I said, when I saw this back in 1997, I loved it, and I still love it to this day. Now that I'm older, and thanks to Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, and Nostalgia Critic and Angry Video Game Nerd, I can now pick out the flaws to this film. This film does kind of suck, but it's still one of my all-time favorite movies. The story, despite what people say about it, the story is not the problem. The story was good. The problem with this film, of course, besides the cramming in so many characters, was the budget. This film tried to be larger in scope than this film, but obviously in several scenes didn't have the money. In one scene, Shao Kahn kills Rain, and later on, during a fight with Liu Kang and Baraka, when Liu Kang knocks Baraka in the fire, it's the same shot as when Shao Kahn knocked Rain into the fire earlier. Then, this is another minor scene. When Shao Kahn is, when Liu Kang and Shao Kahn are fighting, before the fight, Shao Kahn, he hits a flip and takes off his cape and throws out Liu Kang, and the fight begins. But if you watch, when Shao Kahn knocks Liu Kang on the ground and taunts him, Shao Kahn says, "Yes, yes," and then it's the same scene as earlier when he had his cape on, even though he just took it off. So that problem, continuity errors, like Johnny Cage having his sunglasses, even though Goro crushed him in the first movie, were the main problems with this film, even more so than the cramming of characters, and of course the killing off Johnny Cage, in my opinion, too early. I didn't mind him killing him off because he did die, and it did make sense in the context of the film, but I hate that they did it so early. I wish they would have killed him off at midway or towards the end. But this movie right here was an awesome movie, and I love this movie. I waited forever for what was supposed to be the sequel to this film, and that's the sequel reboot has been in development till hell for I don't know how many years now. But I waited forever for this. What's his name? And of course the actors in this film. Of course you got Robin Shaw, Talisa Soto returning as Liu Kang and Kitana respectively. You have the awesome Lynn Red Williams from American Gladiators returning, appearing in this film as Jax. You have Sandra Hess replacing Bridget Nielsen as Sonya Blade, and I love Sandra Hess. She looks just like the Mortal Kombat 3 version of Sonya. Then of course you got James Raymar from The Warriors and Judge Dredd playing Raiden. Raiden. I love his portrayal of Raiden. I also love how Raiden got to do much more in this film. And of course you have oh yeah, Brian Thompson, man. Brian Thompson as Shao Kahn. Brian Thompson, the guy who gets killed in Terminator, as Shao Kahn, man. And of course you have, I think his name, what was his name? Darren McBee, Malibu from the American Gladiators, portraying Motaro. And one of this is actually my favorite incarnation of Motaro. Same as Brian Thompson is one of my favorite incarnations of Shao Kahn. So yeah, all-star. Still, despite having a new cast, in my opinion, still had an all-star power cast. The new guy, Chris Conrad, who they got to play Johnny Cage. I can't really say if he was good or horrible because he was only on the screen for about, I think, 5 minutes, and then he got killed off. His only line was, "This is not good." Sandra Hess, like I said, I actually liked her better than Bridget Nielsen. You know, Bridget Nielsen was awesome. She looks just like the Mortal Kombat 3 version of Sonya Blade, and she was more passionate about the film. James Raymar, it's sad that Lambert couldn't return, but I thought James Raymar was a great replacement. He's more like the modern day Raiden, whereas Lambert was like the original Raiden, kind of a douche and sarcastic and upbeat and witty. Then of course, I love the inclusion of new characters like Smoke, more powerful characters like Smoke, Baraka, Cyrax, Nightwolf, Jade, Melina, Shiva, Motaro, and Ermac. The only thing I hate is that, and Sub-Zero, and bringing back Sub-Zero and Scorpion. The only thing I hate is that a lot of these characters just showed up for a fight scene, and characters like Scorpion and Sub-Zero, despite usually being involved in the series, only showed up for one fight and never appeared again. This film wanted to cater exclusively to video game fans, whereas this one catered to casual goers and video game fans. And of course you got lots of characters, and of course if you're not familiar with Mortal Kombat, you would not have understood it all. But this was still a good film. I also did not like them killing off Shiva without any fights. I also did not like them just mentioning Stryker and Cabal, which that pissed me off as a kid, despite how much I love this film. But I loved everything about this film. I love the CGI, even though some of it was terrible, particularly the dragon scene at the end. But I love that, and all those scenes kept scaring the living hell out of me as a kid. Even Shao Kahn was still threatening with his rubber mask on as a kid, man, because of the tone and stuff. And despite lacking the size of his video game counterpart, Shao Kahn made up for it with brutality, man, and that intimidating and booming voice. So yeah, then this this movie right here had even better soundtrack than the first one. I love Megalomaniac and Fire. Both of those songs are just awesome, man. And the one I hear it all the time, but I don't know what it was called. But the song that plays when Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight, I hear that song all the time, but I never know what it's called. But man, this film right here is I love this film so much, despite how bad it was, and I waited forever for the sequel and reboot to this film, and this film is still 1,000 times better than that Legacy garbage. All right, Dugout. I'll do individual in-depth reviews later.